No more speed camera tickets in Ontario. The ban's effective today, but people have not put the brakes on voicing opposition.
Police allege a used car dealership in Hamilton was selling stolen vehicles. More on Project Big Cat and how you can not become a victim either.
Well, the name does say Ontario Place, and now the NDP claims that the province is trying to seize exhibition grounds too. But the Ford government says that's not the case. We're going to hear from both sides coming up.
Getting back to business or work with the return to office mandates and how the TTC is stepping up.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Sija Liu. Welcome to Live at 5. Police in Hamilton allege a car dealership trafficked stolen vehicles over several years, and an investigation has led to the recovery of millions of dollars worth of cars.
Okay, for a closer look at Project Big Cat, let's go live to CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan. Steve.
Yeah, Project Big Cat was started by Hamilton Regional Police with their local police service partners and with the other civilian agencies such as the Insurance Bureau of Canada. And as a result, they identified a auto body place, a Bengal Auto, and they alleged that this Bengal Auto was trafficking stolen vehicles. They set up this project and it was a success. They have charged a 30-year-old man with a variety of different criminal offenses, including possession of stolen property obtained by crime and using or making forged documents. The allegations are that this auto place would steal vehicles, re-VIN them, produce false ownerships for those vehicles, and then sell them. So as a result of this project now, they have disrupted and dismantled this criminal organization, and they have made the public aware of that. We did speak with the detective sergeant in charge earlier on, and here's some of that conversation. Let's listen.
You want to get your used vehicle package, of course, and try and do a little bit of history. You can use, some third-party companies like there's a number of them. Carfax comes to mind. And check the history of the vehicle, and if you have anybody that's knows cars or knows the business outside of the dealer you're buying it from, maybe you have them look over the history of the vehicle. And there can be some red flags, like if the car shows that it's been exported out of Canada and you can't find any record of it coming back, that's a red flag. Or if it's been salvaged or you're buying a rebuilt car, those are red flags too.
36 stolen vehicles, $2.7 worth of vehicles recovered, and that was 23 vehicles in total.
A major bust there. Thanks so much, Steve, reporting live for us with this update. Now, a person has been hospitalized after a stabbing in a downtown park.
Yeah, it's happened around 10:40 this morning. This is at George Hislop Park near Yonge and Isabella. Police taped off an area around multiple tents for the investigation. The victim's injuries were initially considered life-threatening, but he's now expected to survive. And a $50,000 reward is being offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of a suspect in a Bolton murder investigation.
48-year-old Wahid Baraksi is wanted for first-degree murder as well as 2 counts of attempted murder. Police say the charges stem from 2 shootings. One person was injured in a November 2020 shooting in Vaughan. Then in January 2021, that same victim and another victim identified as 65-year-old Giovanni Costa were shot in a home in Bolton. Costa was pronounced dead at the scene.
We do believe that he's not in the country, but we are looking for any information from the public in locating him. If you do see Wahid, do not approach him and call the police right away with information.
And a 28-year-old from Barrie and a 25-year-old from Toronto, they were arrested this week. This is in connection with Costa's murder.
A man has been arrested in what police say was a hate-motivated assault targeting a Jewish person in North York.
21-year-old Jean-Hee Jean was arrested Wednesday. The alleged attack happened the evening of September 27. This is near Bathurst and Baycrest during the Jewish Sabbath and high holiday period. And police say the victim was hit with an object thrown from a moving vehicle and was also targeted with slurs. Jean is facing an assault charge. And Toronto police are searching for a man accused of abducting his son and taking him to Ethiopia.
Police say 34-year-old Madupi Owase traveled with his 2-year-old son Emmanuel to Ethiopia yesterday without the consent of the child's mother. Investigators say they are taking all the necessary steps to locate both the victim and the suspect. Now, a provincial ban on speed cameras is now in effect. A move Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow says will lead to hundreds of job losses.
And the Ford government says that money's already flowing in for other road safety infrastructure. CP24's Melissa Duggan joins us live with the latest and what both sides are saying.
Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of things to say about all of this, Bakari and Seja. It is an end of an era. These speed enforcement cameras no longer issuing tickets as of today. Some of them starting to come down as of today. Not the case with the one behind me here in the Leslieville area right now, but expect them to be removed. I think a big question people have, what if I got a ticket before today? Do I still have to pay it? Yes, you do. It is still valid. Still obviously an option to question it, to argue it, and petition it as well. But otherwise, you still have to pay those tickets, but don't expect to get another one from a speed enforcement camera. That ban going into effect today. Of course, Premier Doug Ford has railed against them for quite some time. They have been around for more than 5 years, issuing millions of dollars worth of fines over that time. Not everybody's a fan of them, like Premier Ford, who calls them a cash grab, and then pass some legislation that bans them across the province. The province is going to be taking some measures to the tune of $210 million to roll out other safety measures to keep people from speeding. So think speed bumps, signage, raised sidewalks, or raised walkways, that kind of thing. But speed cameras no longer in effect. We were hearing from the Transportation Minister about this today. Have a listen.
This program should never have been used to supplement revenue. It should be focused on public safety. It should be focused on initiatives that reduce the speed when entering into these zones. And it's disappointing to see that that was not happening. But we are still, as a province, stepping up to the plate and ensuring that we are giving more money to the municipalities to help with traffic calming measures that will actually work in these zones.
There has been vocal opposition, though, to this move from the province. We've heard from a slew of mayors in just the last several weeks saying, don't go ahead with this. Keep these speed enforcement cameras in place, arguing that they keep people safe, that they do slow people down, especially in places like where I am right now, right next to a school, in a community zone, that sort of thing. But obviously, the province not listening to those arguments from the people that we're hearing from, including Mayor Olivia Chow. Here's what she had to say today.
My top priority is keeping people safe, especially children near school zones. And we know speed cameras works. So can we improve it? Absolutely. We're in the middle of doing it, and then bang, gone. The funding is gone, cameras are gone, everything is gone, people are gone, people are going to get laid off now. Is there justification to it? You have to ask the province of Ontario.
95% of the cameras are around schools. So what we're doing is trying to protect our most vulnerable road users. The idea of putting speed humps and roundabouts and those other types of physical speed reduction measures, sure, that sounds great. Speed humps work really well. We did another study that looked at speed hump effectiveness, and there was also about a 43% reduction in child pedestrian motor vehicle collisions with speed humps. However, it's not feasible on the majority of the roadways that we put automated speed cameras on. You can't put an automated speed enforcement camera on major arterials, and a lot of our schools front onto those.
That was the lead author there, by the way, of a study from Sick Kids that really showed what these speed enforcement cameras do to keep roads safe. As for those job cuts, those jobs that could be in danger, we're hearing from Mayor Chow there. She was pointing to some 900 crossing guards, 18 police officers, saying that the fines from these speed cameras help pay for those positions that could be now in limbo. For now, Bakari and Seja, back to you.
A major change on the roads. Thanks so much, Melissa. Now, sticking with the topic of speed cameras, there was a small protest against the ban that was held outside Premier Doug Ford's constituency office in Etobicoke today.
A handful of people gathered for the demonstration. You see them right here. This is at Ford's office on Albion Road near Islington. Organizers say that they're going to be walking a full marathon on the surrounding streets to show their opposition to banning speed cameras. So they're calling for the restoration of the cameras near Ontario schools.
We know that these tools save lives. So today we are going to walk a marathon, a literal marathon, 26.2 miles over 40 kilometers around Premier Ford's office to send the message that this fight is not over. This is a marathon and not a sprint. There are thousands and thousands of parents all across the province who want and need these programs because we know how effective it is at protecting our loved ones.
Organizers of today's demonstration are also calling for a meeting with Premier Doug Ford. It's 5:10, 7 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And the Ford government is refuting claims that it plans to seize Exhibition Place. The latest on the future of the site next. The Ford government is refuting opposition claims that it plans to seize Exhibition Place from the City of Toronto.
Chris Glover, NDP MPP for Spadina, Fort York, claims there is an amendment to the Rebuilding Ontario Place Act in the fall economic statement that allows the province to take control of the X grounds. The province says the amendment will make it easier to deal with construction obstacles as they arise, like turning off a water source or running a new power line without running into red tape.
The question is, what is the government's plan? What are the Ford Conservatives planning to do with Exhibition Place that they need to seize this kind of control over Exhibition Place, which is owned and operated by the City of Toronto? And why the secrecy? Why bury this in the middle of a budget bill? Why not just come out transparently and say, hey, we've got plans for Exhibition Place, so we're going to be seizing control and putting it under the rubric of the Ontario Place Act?
And Deputy Mayor Usman Malik, who is board chair at Exhibition Place, says that the city is looking into the provincial legislation.
We are looking closely to understand what the facts are with what was shared about the province and its interest in Exhibition Place. We're looking closely at that because the province has not shared those details with the city. But if it is what it looks like, that is not acceptable. The Exhibition Place grounds are a key city asset, and they have to remain in city hands. And we will look at all the options that we have as a city to challenge that if it is what it appears to be.
And Elizabeth Sampson with the group Ontario Place for All believes this is the Ford government steamrolling the City of Toronto for redevelopment.
I started getting involved in this project because I care deeply about the waterfront and our city and what kind of city we're building. And what it's become is that I'm becoming a real democracy activist, because what I hear and the province doing is using their powers, using their legislative powers to make sure there's no opposition and no consultation and no public engagement to their projects. And that in and of itself is deeply problematic.
And a statement from the Office of Stan Cho, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Gaming reads, quote, "To be clear, we're not taking over Exhibition Place. These legislative amendments, they're intended to be a backstop measure for all authorities in partnership to work together to rebuild Ontario Place in a timely manner."
The TTC is increasing service on Line 1 beginning on Sunday.
Yeah, service is being increased every day, including an additional 10 trains during the weekday morning rush. 15 more trains are being added to the evening rush. The TTC says this is going to reduce crowding and wait times by 30 seconds. The TTC is also increasing service on the 505 Dundas and 511 Bathurst streetcar routes.
Rather than waiting for 3 minutes, you're waiting for 2.5 minutes. So it is faster. It's less crowded. Now, weekend is usually not as crowded, but we have noticed the weekend ridership have gone up quite a lot. It's great to see people are using TTC. That or they're working hard on weekends too. So the number of trains, there'll be more, there'll be less crowding, less waiting, and the train will come faster.
It started in October the 12th. In terms of Line 2, and now pulling through on Line 1. This will make a real impact, and it's the first time since COVID that we're getting back up to these levels to meet the demands of our customers, which we've digested and looked at to see what we could do, how we could do it. But most importantly, what drives these changes is, one, our feedback from our customers, and two, the support, the guidance, the investment that the Mayor has just reiterated in the package of services that she has provided the TTC.
Last month, the TTC increased service along Line 2 to match pre-pandemic levels in order to accommodate return-to-work office mandates that will begin this fall and winter.
Well, some major GO rail disruptions to keep in mind for users in the East End this weekend.
Due to planned track work, GO train service will grind to a halt for the entire stretch of the East Shore line from Union to Oshawa all weekend long. Those Durham stations will all be serviced by GO buses. Express buses will then run from Pickering to Union. Trains and regular service will be up and running in time for the commute on Monday morning.
And a heads up about weekend work on the Gardner. It will cause delays. Only one lane is going to be open on the eastbound Gardner between Grand Avenue and the Park Lawn Bridge from 11 tonight until 5 a.m. Sunday. This is for paving as part of the bridge rehabilitation work.
A team at St. Michael's Hospital says it has achieved a world first by doing a series of brain angiograms using a robot controlled remotely by a neurosurgeon.
So typically, the doctor is bedside with the patient, manually moving the catheter. But in this case, the doctor was about 6 kilometers away, remotely steering the robot, you see it right here, as it moved a catheter through the patient's body up into the brain. So it is hoped that this technology can now be used to perform procedures more than 600 kilometers away at a hospital in Sault Ste. Marie.
It's 5:17, 7 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And one of the big banks is looking at the spending plan for Canadians this holiday season. We're going to break down the numbers next.
Federal officials say their work at a BC ostrich farm where more than 300 birds were culled this week is over.
Yeah, the cull was ordered last year, about a year ago, after an outbreak of avian flu. A story made headlines all around the world after a legal fight was launched to save the birds. That legal bid was ultimately quashed, and the birds were killed last week and buried deep in a landfill. However, the farm remains under quarantine and permission is needed to visit it.
New data from Statistics Canada finds the country's birth rates are seeing a significant boost thanks to foreign mothers.
The agency says in 2024, more than 40% of babies were born to a mother who was not born in Canada themselves. That's compared to just 22.5% in 1997. Statistics Canada says that the country's birth rate would have fallen significantly since 2010 without them. The study's authors notes that birth rates also saw an increase after the federal government enhanced parental leave options for new parents. And thousands of jobs, they could be coming to Canada if Ottawa adds a Swedish manufactured jet to its military fleet.
Saab, the company behind the Gripen fighter jet, says the deal could add 10,000 manufacturing and research roles to the economy. Saab says it's also open to creating a joint venture with companies already based in Canada. The company's president and CEO tell CTV News the project could include building a new facility or converting an existing one, with the first Canadian-made Gripen potentially flying off the assembly line within 3 to 5 years. And Canadians are tightening their purse strings when it comes to holiday spending this year.
Yeah, Bank of Montreal survey reveals 3 in 5 Canadians plan to adjust their spending due to tariff concerns, and nearly a quarter started shopping earlier to avoid potential price increases. So 41% of respondents say they plan to cut back. Now, overall, Canadians plan on shelling out an average of $2,300 over the holidays.
For a lot of Canadians, they're worried about, maybe overspending over these holidays. I think things like inflation, some of the tariffs, and just a bit of uncertainty around how their budget is prepared to handle the holiday season. And so I think a lot of Canadians are looking for maybe some Black Friday deals, looking to take advantage of sales, and probably, spending a bit less. But I think for the majority of Canadians, they understand that giving a gift is still something that they want to do, and taking the time off, they're probably just going to be spending a bit less of these holidays.
The BMO survey found the most money will be spent on travel and food, averaging out to about more than $500. Today is the first fundraising deadline for NDP leadership candidates.
An installment of $25,000 is due today. Candidates will have to raise a total of $100,000 and gather 500 signatures from party members. at least 50 from each of the 5 regions of the country. So the NDP leadership candidates are scheduled to meet in Montreal for a predominantly French debate. That's going to be November 27th. Rob Ashton, Tenille Johnson, Avi Lewis, Heather McPherson, and Tony McQuail, they are in the race. The new leader is going to be chosen at a convention in Winnipeg later in March. It's 5:23, 7 degrees. This is Live at 5.
After making history in the postseason, the Jays rookie pitcher Trey Yesavage has gotten engaged. We'll have more details about his proposal on the beach coming up.
After a record-breaking start to his pro career, Jays pitcher Trey Yesavage is embarking on a new kind of adventure.
Well, Yesavage announced on Instagram that he and his girlfriend, Taylor Frick, are engaged. Photos show him proposing on a beach with the caption, "In this lifetime and the next, it will always be you." 22-year-old Yesavage quickly became a Toronto fan favorite after making his big league debut in September, striking out 9 and went on to set a rookie postseason record by earning 12 strikeouts with no walks in a World Series game. And he is known for putting on a show, and now Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is getting the recognition he deserves.
Hit well to deep left center. And this one will go.
And Vladdy won Major League Baseball's first ever Entertainer of the Year award after signing a 14-year contract extension. He gave fans plenty to cheer about this season and the postseason. He had 8 home runs, including this one, as the Jays went on to win their first AL pennant since 1993. Well, it's Grey Cup weekend in Winnipeg.
The Montreal Alouettes are taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the 112th edition of the CFL's Big Game. The teams split their 2 games in the regular season. The Grey Cup kicks off on Sunday night at 6:30.
It truly feels like these are the 2 best teams in the CFL meeting in the Grey Cup. And it also feels maybe a little different in past years where the Bombers came in as heavy favorites in the Grey Cup, where there's not a whole lot to split these 2 teams. One of the big storylines so far has been Davis Alexander, quarterback of the Montreal Alouettes, and his hamstring injury. Is that going to impact him? Does that give a slight edge to the Rough Riders, who are known to have a very mean and physical defense? Time will tell, but it's going to be a very close game.
At the CFL Awards, they were handed out last night. BC Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke was named Most Outstanding Player and Most Outstanding Canadian. Lions lineman Matthew Betts was named Top Defensive Player.
It's 5:28, 7 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And we're live in the Dundas and Jones area. The province's ban on speed cameras is now in effect. The cameras stopped issuing tickets at midnight. We're going to have reaction to the ban coming up.
No more speed camera tickets in Ontario. The ban effective today, but people haven't put the brakes on voicing opposition.
And police allege a used car dealership in Hamilton was selling stolen vehicles. More on Project Big Cat and how you can not become a victim either.
The name does say Ontario Place, and now the NDP claims the province is trying to seize exhibition grounds too. But the Ford government says that is not the case. We will hear from both sides coming up.
Well, getting back to business or work with the return to office mandates and how the TTC is stepping up.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Sijal Liu.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. Well, a provincial ban on speed cameras, it's now in effect. This is a move that Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow says is going to lead to hundreds of job losses.
Meanwhile, the Ford government says money is already flowing for other road safety infrastructure. CP24's Melissa Duggan joins us live now with the latest. Melissa, this has been quite controversial. What are both sides saying now that the ban is in effect?
Yeah, we're hearing a lot from everybody today, Sija and Bakari. This is day 1 of these speed enforcement cameras not handing out tickets after more than 5 years of being in effect across the province. But we knew that Premier Doug Ford did not like them. He did not mince words when it came for his feelings for these speed enforcement cameras. Legislation has passed banning them all across Ontario, and it has now taken effect. So if you got a ticket before today, it is still valid, still has to be paid, or you can still fight it. But no more tickets coming from these sorts of cameras like the one behind me here in Leslieville. anymore. We have been hearing from the province as to what they're going to be doing instead to get people to slow down, to not speed, to be careful in zones, especially around schools and in communities like the one I'm in right now. They're putting out $210 million across the province to put in place things like speed bumps, roundabouts, signage, raised crosswalks, that sort of thing. But they will not be giving the okay to these speed enforcement cameras. We did hear from the transportation minister today about this move. Of course, remember, there have been millions of dollars worth of fines that these speed cameras have collected over these 5+ years. Here's what he has to say.
There's one that issues 70,000 tickets. If we see a camera that is issuing 70,000 tickets, we know that that just isn't working. But there's been nothing that's been actually done to reduce the speed in those zones other than the continuous use of the camera. So we know that they're not working. We have examples on Avenue Road where the camera is at the bottom of the hill when the school's on the top of the hill with reduced speed limits, just trying to ensure that they capture as many tickets as possible. So ultimately, what we want to focus on is real solutions that will stop an individuals in the zones, like a school zone, from excessive speeding or speeding above the limit that work 100% of the time. It just doesn't make sense to get a ticket 3 weeks later.
And even though this ban is now in effect, we are hearing from mayors today, including Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow and other safety advocates who are still pushing back against this move. They say that these cameras keep streets safe, keep communities safe, that they really do slow people down. They want them to be brought back online. And what we're hearing from Mayor Olivia Chow today is she says that there could be job losses associated with the removal of these cameras. Have a listen.
It felt like a make-work project. Install the cameras. Okay, a few years later, get rid of the cameras. Hire the staff. Fire the staff. 1,000 people may lose their jobs. Well, keep the kids safe. Okay, that's what we're doing. Oh, but put some more speed bumps in. But we're going to take away your money that you used to put in the speed bumps. You have to apply for it. Who knows how long it's going to be? Do I see any rationale behind it? No.
Parkside has lots of signs. They have flashing signs on Parkside. They don't work. So I would say, look at the data. Trust the data. Trust police. Trust doctors. Trust school boards. I don't know how he's on the other side of this argument other than he's making safety a political thing. And unfortunately, it shouldn't be because it's going to cost people their lives.
Mayor Olivia Chow saying that the money collected from these cameras helped pay for some 900 crossing guards, some 18 police officers. And now she's saying what is going to happen with those positions? Where's that money going to come from there? As for these cameras, they've started to come down as of today. Obviously, the one behind me, it is still standing here, but expect all of them across the province to be coming down real soon. Back to you guys.
Okay, reporting live, CP24's Melissa Duggan. Well, a small protest against the speed camera ban was held outside of Premier Doug Ford's constituency office in Etobicoke.
A handful of people gathered for the demonstration at Ford's office on Albion Road near Islington. Organizers say they will be walking a full marathon on surrounding streets to show their opposition to banning speed cameras. They're calling for the restoration of cameras near schools in Ontario.
We have here petitions that we're going to be delivering to the Premier. We are walking on behalf of almost 10,000 people that we have talked to over the course of the last month and a half, ever since he announced the shutdown of this life-saving program. And, you know, while this is a dark day, we will continue to fight, and it is not over by any stretch of the imagination. And we're calling on Torontonians, parents, Ontarians to make their voices heard about this.
And organizers of today's demonstration, they're also calling for a meeting with the Premier. And police in Hamilton, they allege a car dealership trafficked stolen vehicles over several years, and an investigation has led to the recovery of millions of dollars worth of cars.
And for a closer look at Project Big Cat, let's go live to our crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve, this was an auto dealership that was involved. So for those who might have purchased a stolen car, could they be charged with possession of stolen property?
That will depend on if you knew you were, in fact, purchasing a stolen car. But if a police car rolled up behind you, ran the plate of the car, or checked the VIN number, more importantly, and the car came back as stolen, you could be arrested. even temporarily, you could be arrested until the officer finished with the investigation. But most likely, if you got duped into buying a car that you thought was legit and it wasn't stolen, most likely you will never be charged with possessing that stolen vehicle. You'll lose the car, though, and then you'd have to take some sort of civil action, then go after the crooks who sold you the car if you wanted to get your money back. So if you're unknowingly driving a stolen car, you could find yourself arrested, most likely not charged, released at the scene. Car would be impounded, you'll lose the car, and you'd be out that money.
Okay, so Steve, I mean, you go to a dealership and you buy what you're thinking is a legit car. How are you supposed to protect yourself?
Yeah, great question. So the VIN number, the vehicle identification number, it's like a fingerprint. Every car has its own. You can run that through Service Ontario, through Carfax, and the VIN numbers are specific. They are absolutely perfect when it comes to the font size, when it comes to the spacing of the numbers or the letters, and there is no mistakes on them. So you can check VINs for yourself on the dash in front of the driver's steering wheel, in front of the steering wheel. You can check the VIN on the driver's door. And the engine block's got a VIN number as well. They all have to be the same. If there's a mistake on one of those, there's no oops, there was a mistake made, that would give you an indication that the VIN was fake and that it was duplicated. So they are quick things that you can do. And if you don't get that, you can always have somebody come with you to have a look. But the VIN number typically is one of the first clues that will stand out if, in fact, a vehicle is stolen and that VIN number has been altered. Now, as a result of this investigation into the auto shop that was stealing and revinning cars, arrest was made, over $2 million in cars were recovered, and many criminal charges were laid. We did hear from the detective sergeant from Hamilton Police who was in charge of this investigation, and here's some of what he said. Let's have a listen.
Vehicles, of course, have a VIN, a vehicle identification number or a serial number that's unique to the car. It's located in a number of different places on the car. And, it's not expected that you would know where to look all the time, but the public VINs inside your door and, on the dash, you want to make sure that they're going to match and that they match the ownership and, they look professional. Not always are these revinning operations, high tech. And so sometimes it might look a little fishy, or if the numbers don't match, those are clues to look for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What I had said and what the DS had said there, and trust your gut as well. If you think that there's something up with this car, if it sounds too good to be true, you're getting too good of a deal, or if somebody wants to give you cash and not give you a bill of sale, that should be some pretty big clues.
Well, also, see, we're talking about a 3-year-long investigation, right?
Yeah, this was an extensive investigation. Some great police work, again, covert police work, where they were able to identify what this auto place was doing. They recovered a lot of cars, over $2 million in vehicles, and they did charge that one person. But that's a big problem when you've got VIN numbers being altered, because that's how you track cars, is through the fingerprint of the car. So doing that is a very serious criminal offense. And again, if you look at VIN numbers, there's no mistakes on a VIN number. They all look the same. They're all spread apart the same way. Their font is the same size. If you look at a VIN number and it looks to be altered or chipped, that might be a clue that it's not a real VIN number.
Okay, crime analyst Steve Ryan reporting live on Project Big Cat. Thanks so much for this breakdown. A $50,000 reward is being offered for information leading to the arrest and conviction of a suspect in a Bolton murder investigation.
A 48-year-old Wahid Barakziyeh is wanted for first-degree murder as well as 2 counts of attempted murder. And police say that the charges stem from 2 shootings. One person was injured in a November 2020 shooting that was in Vaughan. And then in January 2021, that same victim and another victim identified as 65-year-old Giovanni Costa shot in a home in Bolton. Costa was pronounced dead at the scene.
We do believe that he's not in the country, but we're looking for any information from the public in locating him. If you do see Wahid, do not approach him and call the police right away with information.
A 28-year-old from Barrie and 25-year-old from Toronto were arrested this week in connection with Costa's murder. A person has been hospitalized after a stabbing in a downtown park.
It happened around 10:40 this morning at George Hislop Park. This is near Yonge and Isabella. So police did tape off an area around multiple tents for the investigation. The victim's injuries were initially considered life-threatening, but he's now expected to survive. And Toronto police, they're searching for a man accused of abducting his son and taking him to Ethiopia.
Police say 34-year-old Madupe Owase traveled with his 2-year-old son Emmanuel to Ethiopia yesterday without the consent of the child's mother. Investigators say they are taking all the necessary steps to locate both the victim and the suspect. It's 5:41, 7 degrees. You're watching live at 5.
And up ahead, if you're planning on heading into the city this weekend, there are some lane restrictions on the eastbound Gardner that you're gonna want to keep in mind.
The Ford government is refuting opposition claims that it plans to seize Exhibition Place from the City of Toronto.
Yeah, Chris Glover, NDP MPP for Spadina, Fort York, claims there's an amendment to the Rebuilding Ontario Place Act in the fall economic statement. It allows the province to take control of the X-Ground. So the province says the amendment will make it easier to deal with construction obstacles as they arise, like turning off a water source or running a new power line without running into red tape.
They have the power, the provincial government has given itself the power to break environmental laws, to break heritage laws. So any building there, if they pass this bill, would be under their jurisdiction. They could do whatever they want.
Deputy Mayor Asma Malik, who is the board chair at Exhibition Place, says the city is looking into the provincial legislation.
We are looking closely to understand what the facts are with what was shared about the province and its interest in Exhibition Place. We're looking closely at that because the province has not shared those details with the city. But if it is what it looks like, that is not acceptable. The Exhibition Place grounds are a key city asset, and they have to remain in city hands. And we will look at all the options that we have as a city to challenge that if it is what it appears to be.
And Elizabeth Sampson with Ontario Place for All believes that this is an example of the Ford government avoiding consultation to expedite the redevelopment.
Instead of actually working with the community, trying to figure out what works, which is what a normal developer would have to do because they don't have the power of legislation to pass bills, pass laws to make their path easier. They would have to negotiate and they'd have to say, okay, I'll make this a little shorter and I'll make this a little, add some more green space here. And there's a negotiation process. Now, I'm not saying that it's perfect, but it sure is at least something. And in this case, the province is really taking away every possible way that we as citizens can get involved with this project.
A statement from the office of Stan Cho, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Gaming, reads, "To be clear, we are not taking over Exhibition Place. These legislative amendments are intended to be a backstop measure for all authorities in partnership to work together to rebuild Ontario Place in a timely manner."
Well, the TTC is increasing service on Line 1 beginning Sunday.
Service is being increased every day, including an additional 10 trains during the weekday morning rush. 15 trains are being added to the evening rush. The TTC says this will reduce crowding and wait times by 30 seconds. The TTC is also increasing service on the 505 Dundas and 511 Bathurst streetcar routes.
Rather than waiting for 3 minutes, you're waiting for 2.5 minutes. So it is faster. It's less crowded. Now, weekend is usually not as crowded, but we have noticed the weekend ridership have gone up quite a lot. It's great to see people are using TTC. That or they're working hard on weekends too. So the number of trains, there'll be more, there'll be less crowding, less waiting, and the train will come faster.
It started in October the 12th in terms of Line 2 and now pulling through on Line 1. This will make a real impact, and it's the first time since COVID that we're getting back up to these levels to meet the demands of our customers, which we've digested and looked at to see what we could do, how we could do it. But most importantly, what drives these changes is one, our feedback from our customers, and two, the support, the guidance, the investment that the Mayor has just reiterated in the package of services that she has provided the TTC.
Well, last month, the TTC increased service along Line 2 to match pre-pandemic levels in order to accommodate return to office mandates that began this fall and into the winter. And some major GO rail disruptions to keep in mind. This is going to be for users in the East End this weekend.
Because of planned track work, GO train service will grind to a halt for the entire stretch of the East Shore Line from Union to Oshawa all weekend long. Those Durham stations will all be serviced by GO buses. Express buses will then run from Pickering to Union. Trains and regular service will be up and running in time for commute on Monday morning.
And a heads up about weekend work on the Gardner. This is definitely going to cause delays. Only one lane will be open on the eastbound Gardner between Grand Avenue and the Park Lawn Bridge from 11 tonight until 5 o'clock Sunday morning as for paving as part of the bridge rehabilitation work.
A team at St. Michael's Hospital says it's achieved a world first by doing a series of brain angiograms using a robot controlled remotely by a neurosurgeon.
So typically the doctor is bedside the patient, manually moving the catheter. But in this case, the doctor was about 6 kilometers away, remotely steering the robot as it moved a catheter through the patient's body up into the brain. It's hoped that this technology can now be used to perform procedures more than 600 kilometers away at a hospital in Sault Ste. Marie. It's 5:49, 7 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Today is King Charles' birthday. We'll take a look at how the monarch is celebrating his 77th coming up.
At least 6 people are dead after Russia unleashed a missile and drone attack on Ukraine's capital.
35 others were wounded in the barrage that started fires and sent debris scattering into the streets. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia used at least 430 drones and 18 missiles to attack apartment blocks and civilians. It's the worst assault on Kyiv in almost 3 weeks. Most recent Russian aerial attacks have targeted electricity infrastructure around the country ahead of the bitter winter months. And staying overseas, a double-decker bus has slammed into a shelter in Sweden, killing 3 people and injuring 3 others.
Stockholm police say that the crash happened around 3:30 local time during the busy Friday rush home. Several people were reportedly lined up at the bus stop. This is when the bus plowed into the crowd. The driver was the only one on the bus. It was not in service at the time, and police are still looking into the cause. And 3 Chinese astronauts, they're back on Earth more than a week later than planned.
The return was delayed after the crew discovered damage to their window of their capsule, which was likely hit by space debris. They left their original craft in orbit and returned on a shuttle that had delivered 3 new crew members to the Chinese space station. The astronauts were in space for 204 days, the longest in the history of China's space program. King Charles III is celebrating his 77th birthday today.
Well, the monarch got a surprise song and a cake shaped like a palace. This is he visited a castle in Wales today. He then opened a new train station and greeted fans and well-wishers. Buckingham Palace released a new photo of the king today. This was taken in May at Sandringham Estate. In London, gun salutes were fired in Green Park and by Tower Bridge to honor the occasion. It's 5:54, 7 degrees. This is Live at 5.
One of the biggest banks is looking at the spending plan for Canadians this holiday season. We'll break down the numbers next. Canadians are tightening their purse strings when it comes to holiday spending this year.
A Bank of Montreal survey reveals 3 in 5 Canadians plan to adjust their spending due to tariff concerns, and nearly a quarter stated that they started their shopping earlier to avoid potential price increases. 41% of respondents say they plan to cut back. Now, overall, Canadians plan on shelling out an average of $2,300 over the holidays.
A lot of Canadians are also worried about, going into waking up in January and feeling like, wow, I have this big credit card debt or I have this debt. I think a lot of Canadians are sort of thinking that, you know what, let me take advantage of some deals, maybe just buy maybe 1 or 2 gifts and kind of just enjoy the holiday with friends and family.
The BMO survey found the most money will be spent on travel, food, averaging out to more than $500 each. The United Way is hosting its 45th annual CN Tower climb this weekend.
Hundreds of people are going to get their steps in as they attempt to conquer the nearly 1,800 stairs as part of the organization's Climb Up fundraiser. CP24 talked to Nicole McVan about the 45th edition of the event.
So it's a special celebration for us this year at 45. It has grown and grown over the years. You know, we had to stop it during the COVID years. We were so happy to bring it back. And this year it's going to raise more than $1.5 million. And what we find is that this is our biggest event. It's also an event where anybody across the region can participate. And so we see all walks of life, all ages, people coming out. One year we had a 99-year-old do it. A few years ago, our son did it with us. So it's really for everybody.
Wow, 99 years old. That is impressive. And all the proceeds from the event will help relieve poverty and connect nearly 2 million people to support services in the GTA. It's 5:59, 7 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.